interstitial projects that are happening, really feel about this notion that your work and your labor is part of the city's comeback, so to speak.
Okay, I'll jump in there. Definitely, because design is everything. And personally, I feel that creativity begets creativity. And when you are on the forefront of what you're doing, like everyone that's sitting up here, it's an attractive force to bring others to the city and better promote, what else is happening in the city, and then bring more and more and more and more and more. So, yes, my answer.
I agree. I just want to piggyback on that statement and say that it's shown in history that people follow where the artists go. Berlin, for example, Greenwich Village, New York City. If you allow low rent, the artists come in, and then the people want to say, what are those crazy artists doing in Detroit? And then the people follow, exactly like you say. So we're in a good route to great success here for art in the city, I think.
I would say that Detroit is like kind of part of my comeback because I draw a lot of my inspiration from the city. So, there was, and I would say it's part of a comeback or like a reappreciation because at one point in time in the mid to late 90s, I was disgusted by how the city looked. And I had to kind of like switch my perspective and see it as a beautiful thing. And once I started seeing Detroit as a beautiful thing, how it is now, then all kinds of inspiration started coming out of the cracks and the voids and the stuff that is actually there. So, I'll put that out there.
Do we have any questions from the audience as well for them?
What's your inspiration for your creative work here in the city of Detroit?
I would say OSB. And if nobody knows OSB, that's Oriented Strand Board. And that is what boards up most of the houses or buildings in this place. So OSB is a really beautiful thing. If you look at it, it's the cheapest plywood you can get, but it's got the most intricate patterns in it. It has a crazy color to it, and I use it like as a raw material. So I'll put that out there.
Yeah, I think that for me, having come up in the hip hop culture, I danced for years and would come to Detroit to dance with a lot of the crews here, get mentored by other dancers, and every time I went to like events which we call jams in Detroit, it was an extremely warm experience, and it was like you just would see the community pulling together, and it was all types of people, everyone from like visual artists like Syntax, being and stuff, or strings on the dance floor, or musicians like DJ Dez, all these people coming together in one space and celebrating like art and visual culture and style was extremely impactful. So everything I do, I try and model after that. As far as, whether it's working with like high school kids and getting them to put on events, or, working with other, creative-minded people, trying to bring together all these different elements, the sample culture of hip-hop, and make something new out of things that already exist, like what you were saying, is a really big part of, I think, what drives me.
I draw inspiration probably at three distinct things, and first and foremost is the history of Detroit. It's you can look and just find limitless lists of things that have come out of Detroit. Clearly we have the automotive industry, but the art, the people, the music, and so forth. There's a lot happened here, and that's inspiring to be sort of we're what's next. Secondly, and probably more recently, is just the community. I'm in a space that has many other people working and doing their own things, but we're all there together doing it. And thirdly, probably a very obvious one, is a diversity. There's, there's a lot of colors, there's a lot of ages, there's a lot of different backgrounds here, and, that's hugely inspiring.
Other questions?
Emily, Eric, are you guys allowing other designers or independent Detroit firms to buy fabrics from you guys, make their own private labels? Are you doing private labeling and that type of stuff? Do you imagine that in the future or no? Or?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, a vertically integrated system would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm open to it. It's just, there's nobody really doing it yet, so.
I do some private labeling, and I'm a little bit selective about it because everyone hears jeans and they think, oh, I want jeans. And so I do it on a somewhat limited basis, but absolutely. If it makes sense and it's, sort of is aligned with what I'm doing, and you bet.
Other questions?
Is there any place we can park where we don't have to worry about the meters?
Yes, the Woodward Garage across the way, actually, if you tell them you're here for the 2B designed event, they should let you in for that. They'll ask for your license plate, but otherwise that should
Woodward
get you
Garage?
in. Yeah, the garage, and if not, the open lot space.
They don't have the open lot blocked off, I don't know why.
They were supposed to have it open, but they told me that the garage, if not, so, little housekeeping and logistics. Any other questions?
Yeah, it's for Wes. I was wondering, how did you get, Jay-Z to contact you about?
Well, that's,
Question?
So the question was, how did you sort of, from your base in Detroit, get a connection to Jay-Z to commission a series of book projects from you?
that goes back to the community thing, where it's a community thing, and then the fact that there's a Detroit influence all over the place. So, long story short, I collaborated with an author and writer by the name of Dream Hampton, who is Jay-Z's biographer, and also a close family friend. So she actually, and this goes back to another connection with community, because I did a book series or a ticket book for the 5E Gallery 2 years ago, and they were ticket packs that I screen printed, and they were little DIY things. And she saw those books and was like, "Well, I want him to make those books." So, the question was, I made the book for her for the gift for their daughter, and then Jay-Z ended up asking me to do one for his wife. So that's how it happened.
We have time for one more question.
I was just going to say,